If you have been following the South African beauty pageant competition, you know that there has been a lot of backlash against one of the participants. And the name of the participant is Chidinma. And obviously, as the name suggests, the girl's father comes from the country of Nigeria, and the mother comes from the Republic of Mozambique. And going by the kind of criticism and backlash that I have experienced against this participant, I have come to the conclusion that as the black people, we still have a long way to go. I think we still suffer from a lot of self-hate, and self-hate arises where you hate everyone or everything that reminds you about yourself, you know. And the reason why I say this is that in the whole of this saga, where black South Africans have been criticizing this participant with a Nigerian father, I realize that black South Africans are extremely hypocritical. And why do I say this? I say this because in various competitions, you know, I have seen South Africa being represented by Caucasians, you know. So it is okay for South Africa to be represented by Caucasians, but at the same time, it is not okay for South African to be represented by a person who comes from the Africa continent. And I know that you know the various Caucasian participants who have represented South Africa. For example, let us talk about Oscar Pistorius. Oscar Pistorius, has represented South Africa in many competitions, including the Olympics. And not even a single day have I ever heard of criticism being raised against Oscar Pistorius. Okay, if you consider the South African, rugby team, you realize that more than 80% of the participants in the team, they are Caucasians. And there is no backlash from black South Africans, So this is why I'm, shocked. I'm very shocked when I see black South Africans criticizing a girl just because her father comes from Nigeria and the mother comes from Mozambique. And if you think about it, I think even the white people, our colonizers, they are doing much better than us today. This is because if you consider, the football teams from those countries such as France, sometimes we find that even more than 50% of the players in those teams, they come from the Africa continent. And other people in those countries, they, support the athletes, despite the fact that they have an African heritage, they support the athletes. And at the end of the day, it is those countries that end up winning. At this point, my people, I would like to challenge my South African brothers and sisters to ask themselves what is at stake. And what I mean by this is assuming that the girl goes on to win the South African pageant beauty competition, what will she be awarded? And I looked at the list of the awards which are usually awarded at the winner of the competition, and I found that she is usually awarded 1 million rands. There is a Mercedes Benz and also an apartment that is awarded to the winner. And if you look at the bigger scheme of things, this is insignificant. 1 million rand, it's a very small amount of money, So I don't think that the backlash that has been, meted out on this participant is justified, considering what she's going to win at the end of the day. And the reason why I say this is because we have various South African multinationals which operate in Nigeria today. And these are groups such as the MTN. We have groups such as ShopRite and also MultiChoice. And these are companies that make billions of dollars from the Nigerian market, So if they make billions of dollars, from the Nigerian market, why is it a big deal when a girl is going to be awarded 1 million rand for winning the beauty competition. And I'm not saying that she's going to win the competition. And I think this is very unfortunate, especially at a time when we're talking about African unity. What they say is that united we stand and divided we fall, you know. So it comes at a time when Africans are realizing the need for them to be united. And I think this divides the continent even further. And what is even more unfortunate is that it comes from the country of Julius Malema. And this is a man who has been spearheading, African unity. This is a man who has a huge following all over the African continent, you know. So what I have to say is that if we cannot allow a beauty pageant from another country to participate in the competitions in South Africa, now what are we saying? Because at the end of the day, we as Africans, we have the objective of having one African army, and we also dream of one federal government. So this means that we have a long way to go, because if we cannot allow a girl to participate in beauty pageant competitions, are we going to form one federal government for the Africa continent?